So this cruise ship wrecks and the captain abandons it. And he leaves about 4,000 people there to die. Now the captain's name is Francesco. Francesco is 51 years old, living in Italy, and dude is the captain of this big ass cruise ship that operates off the coast of Italy called Costa Concordia. And one night in 2012, Francesco is piloting this boat with over 4,000 passengers and crew on board. And that is when he gets this idea that's gonna change his life forever. He decides he's gonna perform a sail-by salute. And that is when ship will sail really close to the land and sometimes they will blow the horn. It's called a sail-by salute. And this will give everyone on the boat a cool view of the island they are passing, and I guess he's just trying to show off. And since he thinks this is going to be impressive, he invites a woman up to the bridge of the ship to watch the whole thing. But not just any woman, it's this woman who we will call Mistress, because she just happens to be Francesco's mistress, who is half his age. And this is an actual picture of her, just straight up looking like a mistress. And Francesco is married, by the way, and of course he is smashing with this much younger woman on the side. And because they are smashing, she is on this cruise for free. She is bumping with the captain, so there is no charge for the buffet or whatever. Anyways, so Francesco wants to get a ship close to this island so that he can show off. And he decides he wants to do this sail-by salute manually, which he doesn't have to do it manually. Cruise ships are very technologically advanced, but I guess using that technology doesn't make him look very badass in front of his mistress. So he turns off the alarm for the computer navigation system, and under normal circumstances this alarm will warn him if he were to get too close to shore or whatever. But I guess Francesco doesn't really care. So there he is on the bridge of the ship, chatting up with his mistress, trying to flex and explaining to her how incredible it is that he's steering the boat manually instead of using the navigation system. And he's the only one who is good enough captain to be able to do such a thing, because he knows the area super well and everything is definitely going to be okay and the boat is totally not going to crash. Until Francesco really screws up. He forgot his reading glasses, so I guess he can't really see what any of these instruments are saying. And I don't know if things are too late to run and get them, or he just doesn't want to be seeing them, but he doesn't go and get them. And I guess he's also distracted by looking at his mistress, who is looking all fine, I guess. So he just keeps asking the first officer to check the radar to make sure the ship is good. So pretty quickly they are in the middle of this sail-by salute and they are moving close to the island, and suddenly, boom, he sees waves breaking on the rocks and he's like, Mamma mia, because he realizes that he has missed just the distance. He is not supposed to be this close to the rocks, so he tries to steer and swing the ship to the side to avoid it, but unfortunately it's too late and kapow! He scrapes the whole of the ship across the rocks, and this rips a massive 164-foot hole in it. And down below, the head of the engine room calls up and he's like, yo, we got a problem down here. There is a big ass gash inside the ship. And water is just pouring in and it submerged the generators and the engines, and now there is no propulsion, no backup electric power, and some of the instruments are failing, and so then boom, the power goes out. So now all the passengers are sadly sitting in darkness, and to make it worse, all this water coming in shifts the weight of the ship and makes the whole thing start tilting to one side. And of course the passengers are panicking at this point because most of the power is out and the boat is leaning, and they are like, what the hell is happening here? And so this ship is slowly sinking to its side, and it eventually comes to rest in more shallow waters as it runs up on the ground. But water is still rushing in. So Francesco immediately starts freaking out because he knows he really screws up. He tells one of the crew just to let the Coast Guard know that they only experienced a little blackout, they don't really need assistance, this is no big deal. And they also make an announcement to the passengers telling them not to panic and that everything is fine. However, obviously everything is not fine. And about an hour goes by and some of the passengers finally report the wreck to the authority. And a little bit after that, Francesco gives passengers and crew the order to evacuate. So basically the passengers are ordered to put on a life vest and head towards the lifeboat, but to be calm about it. However, as time goes on, this ship keeps tilting more and more. And that makes it hard to launch the lifeboat. And you can actually see the ship tilting here. And now eventually the whole boat tilts over on its side. Now this is an actual photo of taken the next day at daylight. And here is another picture and here is another one. I mean, look at that. That looks insane. Now, this point in the story, people are still evacuating and it's all chaos. I mean, there are over 4,000 passengers and crew on this thing. So this is not a fast process. And a good ship captain will be leading this effort to get his passengers to safety, and he will be on the ship until everything is handled. Because you know, a good captain goes down with his ship. Like, I believe that's the say. Here is the thing though. Francesco is just not that guy, and he takes a very different approach. He's like, fuck all this, and he gets on a lifeboat and he's sailing away to safety towards the harbor. Now somehow the Coast Guard gets in touch with him, I guess by radio, and the Coast Guard is pissed. They are like, where the hell are you? And Francesco tells them he had accidentally left the ship because he, and I am not making this up, fell into a lifeboat, and that the lifeboat made its way to the harbor where he is now safe. And the Coast Guard is like, you are the fucking captain, get the hell back on your ship, help people to evacuate, because like this is a serious matter. The ship is on its side, they need to know how many people are still on board. If those people need help, what kind of help do they need? Are people dead? Like, these are the things the captain is supposed to know. And so Francesco tells them that he is trying to get back on the ship, but in fact he is not. Not only did he make it to land at this point, but he was actually one of the first people to make it to land, beating all the other passengers. And he's like, oh, fuck all this, I'm getting out of here. And he peed everyone there. And so anyways, a police officer sees Francesco and he runs up to him and he offers to get him a small boat to return to the ship to help the passengers to evacuate. And Francesco is like, nah, I'm good. Meanwhile, there are people from the island, like actual pedestrians, sailing out there with whatever vessels they own to try and help the passengers off this boat. And between that and the Coast Guard sending ships and helicopters, they are ultimately able to help most of the people evacuate safely. But unfortunately, some people do drown, some people get injured from the ship tilting, and some people get trapped. And in total, 32 people didn't make it. And so the next day, bam, Captain Francesco is arrested. And I don't have a mugshot, but here is a real life picture of him. And he eventually goes to trials and he's found guilty of manslaughter, causing a shipwreck and abandoning a vessel. And he gets sent to 16 years in prison.